Hi, a couple of years ago I started getting into D&D. As my passion for D&D grew, so did my collection of minis, and like many others out there, I now have boxes of shame. Legions of unpainted minis. Now this is my underdog story. This is me painting every single one of my miniatures. Hi guys, so today I figured I will paint Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures The Troll. So I started out with pretty much cleaning up this model and basing it actually. I just used some PVA glue or carpenter's glue and some rocks I got from IKEA. I think they're decorative rocks, together with some gravel that I got from some renovation that I did at home actually. Now the next thing I wanted to do with this thing was of course to sort of start figuring out what color scheme I wanted. He had kind of a violent pose, which meant that the camera you'll see in this episode had huge problems between shifting between sort of a focus on his hand and his face. Obviously cameras are not they're not, trained to, I guess, recognize troll faces. But anyways, in terms of painting this, the next step I had to do was, of course, to do some priming. And I think that's where we're going to get to now. So, the thing about priming, I really started, doing the zenithal priming, which I think I've explained, or I should explain. It's basically that you take a darker color. Here I take gray because I knew I wanted vibrant colors. So I'm basically doing gray all over him. And then after that's dried, I do sort of a white spray from up above. And you can see that it sort of gives me light and shadow. It's a very nice way of sort of simulating light. This does two things. One, it informs me where the hell should I put light, and two, it also helps with the painting. So what I started out with was a sort of light green color, and I made sure as always to water this down. And by now you probably know my way of painting. I just slob paint on. Then I took a darker color, and everything is very, very sort of diluted with water, very wet. I slapped that on, and then I sort of looked at it, and I think it was at this point I started out sort of trying to do some sort of wet blending. So I sort of just try to make sure that there's no hard edges, no hard sort of lines between light green and darker green. And I think here you can see sort of what I'm going for. So obviously his chest area and I don't know how to say inner bits, as in, his chest, his stomach is going to be lighter. Now, while that was drying, I might as well paint those troll Rastafaris. I decided that I wanted to go with some sort of grayish tone to this. I didn't want to go full black because I felt like I still wanted some sort of contrast, because I knew I was going to use washes later on. At this point I am I think using some of that left gray and sort of just trying to paint the base with it, mostly because there's a bunch of rocks and stuff, so I want to make sure that it's all good. Here I'm working on his I don't know if you call that clothes, his loincloth or whatever. So quite quickly I painted that out in brown because I assume it's some sort of leathery thing. Now, one thing that I wanted to sort of try to get to was this troll had, I guess it's warts or stuff, so I painted them with some of the same color I used for the hair, but I also wanted to sort of make them pop a little bit more. So I painted it with some, I guess you would call it like army green, lighter green. Then I realized I do this a lot, that this troll apparently had some sort of rope around his waist holding up his nice loincloth that he stole from someone. Now, once all of this had dried, I decided to go with Agrax Earthshade at first. Now, I did that all over the Mini, just to sort of make it more earthy. But then I also took some Army Painter's green tone, because I wanted to sort of make him really seem green. And sorry for the excellent camera work, but that's approximately how it looks like. If we can focus. There we go, little camera. Good job. Here I'm just pinning out the edge of the base in black, just to make sure that it's neat. And that's about it. So after some drying and some varnish, this is what we have. A hard rock troll in all of its glorious poses. One thing that I have to say that I'm very unhappy with this model is you can see on his nose he has a terrible seam line. I don't know if it was just my copy of the troll, probably not. But that shit I had to actually sort of try to use a darker color in order to sort of hide, because it looked terrible. But here's a little twirly and a camera trying to, like I said, focus on his face, focus on the hand, focus on the face, hand, face. But anyways, that's it, guys. As always, hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.